Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Copper Dragons here, and I'm going to be playing some more ŌKAMI. So let's hop right in and continue the game. Now, the first part of this series, I did on live stream. Go to my channel and click the live tab to go watch that. If you want to get caught up. Honestly, not too much happened. All that really did happen was mostly just learning some of the basics. I don't know if I'm completely done with the tutorial or not, but yeah, if you want to get caught up, please click off this video now and go watch the live stream. It's only like 30 minutes long, 30 or so minutes long, so yeah. You don't have to watch too much just to understand what's going on here. Alright, I think I have to cut this peach. There we go. Honestly, sometime in the future, one game I want to continue the stream for easily has to be Ni no Kuni. Mostly because I want to start a playthrough on the second game. Honestly, I love Ni no Kuni 1. Easily my favorite game of all time. I've just been working on it for so long that it just makes me want to work on the second game. It just makes me want to move on. So yeah. Let's just see what we can do. I'm not gonna read this because it's all just borderline exposition, if anything. And you know what happens if you watch the stream I did. So yeah. So yeah. Honestly, I feel like the dialogue in this game, it's not as important as, say, Phoenix Wright. Or, like, where the dialogue actually is important to continuing the game. So yeah, that's honestly the only game I'm gonna focus on reading the dialogue for. Oh, or at least the written dialogue for. If there's, like, files in a game like for example, Resident Evil. I'm not gonna bother reading the files in those games for the lore, because, well, for one, I'm not a lore guy, and for two, well, technically I give some exposition on what happened in previous games or whatever, but that's only, like, on the rare off occasion. Like if I play a sequel for a game. That only happens then. And otherwise, it doesn't really happen too much for me, because I'm not much of a lore guy. I'm just a playthrough guy. I know my limits with my content. I know what they are. I've got a bad feeling about this. But yeah. Honestly, you know what? Easily one of my favorite series so far that I've been watching for a while. Easily has to be Dr. Stone. Easily. But with the recent developments with, like, the rocket, it just doesn't really make too much sense. Like, a lot of it doesn't really add up. Like, for example, choosing Kohaku over Tsukasa. Like, it's already stated, like, even the series acknowledges that Tsukasa is a more skilled combatant. Yet they only chose Kohaku because she weighs less than Tsukasa. That's literally the only reason that they gave for choosing the less experienced fighter, is because she weighs less. Potentially putting everybody at risk in the process, by the way, considering, they're trying to fight the main villain of the series, so of course they're going to need the strongest combatant they got, which is Tsukasa. Over the lighter fighter, which is Kohaku. And then the stuff with the building of the rocket to return everyone home, that also doesn't make sense whenever you actively think about it. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the series up to that point. It just doesn't make sense for the entire arc up to that point. Like, you would think that Senku and Dr. Zeno, you would think that they would know what rocket to use that would be most effective for getting everyone home. Because, Senku's dad, I forget his name. I think it's Byakuya. He rode in the rocket that can return home, and they had the resources for it. Yet they didn't think of that first while being the smartest people in the village in the entire series up to that point. They didn't think of it, but Chrome, who is very Chrome and Suika. Mind you, Suika only has a year's worth of knowledge of science from Senku's notes. Chrome, he only has the information he's learned from Senku and just a bare minimum past that. And somehow they were the ones to think of that before literally a NASA level scientist and one of the smartest people in the entire series. Yeah, that doesn't make sense whenever you actively think about it. You know? Like, it just really doesn't. Like, I love Dr. Stone. I really did. I love season 1 through 3 and most of season 4. But the entire ending doesn't really make sense when you think about it. You know? Like, genuinely, Dr. Stone is genuinely one of my favorite series, but it doesn't make sense in the ending for how everything played out. It really doesn't make sense. And plus, back to the stuff choosing Tsukasa over Kwaku over Tsukasa. That doesn't make sense considering Ryusui later joins up with them in space, thus basically nullifying the entire reason Kohaku went up with them. Nullifying that entire reason. Yeah, that's just stupid if you ask me. It's just pure stupidity. Like, I just love Dr. Stone, but they could have done so much better with some of the writing towards the end. Like, genuinely, they could have. And it's so aggravating how they cared so little about how much of the plot went into things. But yeah. Let's just try and focus on the game already and just see what I can do here. Wait, I gotta just try and build this up right here. Oh, right, that's the Rejuvenate drawing that I was trying to pull off. You know, not, you know, I don't even know if there's a bridge building I'm drawing throughout this game. Yeah, I kind of screwed myself over, considering I was trying to see what that weird circle was about. But yeah, I failed. Let's just go ahead and see what I can do. I don't know what those weird glowing circles above these villagers' heads are all about. I don't know. But yeah, let's just see what I can do. Like, honestly, no shame. But back to what I was saying about Dr. Stone. No shame to the author. I loved everything up to the, you know, the stuff towards the end. I really did. Even though there's like 2 episodes left of the entire series, I think. So yeah. You know, as of the recording of this episode, there's like 1 or 2 episodes left by the time that this episode goes out. So yeah. I honestly do not know what I gotta do. I guess I gotta talk to some of these villagers. Yeah, I don't really care about the dialogue. I'm just skipping past it. I don't really care, to be perfectly honest. Like, this story is just so bland and generic that it's hard to get a grasp on it. You know? Alright, let's just try and see what I can do. I guess I have to find some high ground. Which I guess leads up here. But yeah, honestly, Dr. Stone, it's still in my top 5 of all anime that I've ever watched. It's still in the 2nd place spot. But Jesus Christ, some of the writing doesn't add up. You know, whenever you think logically. You know, like the stuff I've already mentioned. But that's really the only major gripes I have with the series up to this point. So yeah. Like, it just really doesn't make sense when you think about it. I wish that they would have thought I wish that the author and writers would have thought all that stuff through better, if I'm being honest. And then, not to mention, they also brought back Stanley after he almost just killed somebody not even a few years before the events of the rocket. He almost killed everybody. You know, even though, like Dr. Zeno, he used to be Stanley's boss. But essentially, anyways. He essentially called a ceasefire. For the time being. Yet Stanley didn't even listen and still fired upon everybody, potentially putting Dr. Zeno at risk. Mind you, Dr. Zeno, he was in the group with Senku and all of them. Like Senku, it makes sense that he went on the rocket over Zeno. Because Zeno's the NASA scientist. Senku, he's the more all-around scientist. So yeah. Let's just see what I can do here. Yeah, I gotta just try, I guess. Oh. Let's see what I can do here. I guess I gotta draw the sun. I'm not good at drawing, so yeah. You know what? Screw this. I'm not even gonna try. Like, genuinely, I'm not. Yeah. I don't know what to do. I guess that's what I had to do. Well, that symbol isn't good, considering what it represents. Like, that looks oddly familiar. And yeah, that, no matter what you think of it, yeah, if you know what a red circle, like a red sun, with red beaming lines coming off of it, like that go all the way across whatever it's on. If you don't know what that means, yeah, look up a history book of particularly the, one of the Japanese portion of the Mustache Man's army. Yeah, that's what that represents. And that looks oddly similar to their symbol. Yeah, that's not good. I don't know who thought that would be a good design to put in. Like, genuinely, I don't. But yeah. I had no clue that would even show up. Genuinely, I didn't. I've never played this game before until now. You know, like I played, like, before I started this playthrough, I only played, like, a little bit of the first cutscene. That's about it. And I didn't really get much past that. So yeah. Let's just see what I can do. But yeah, I didn't know that that would show up at any point in this game. I really didn't. So yeah. Let's just see what we can do. That guy's weird. Village Elder Mr. Orange. What kind of name is Mr. Orange? And why would he take his name literally and place an orange on his head? Like, genuinely, that is such a stupid name. Even I could have come up with something more creative than that. I mean, come on, couldn't they have, like, you know, found, like, some village elder from, like, you know, like, Chinese, Japanese, like, Asian history altogether? Couldn't they have at least found some, you know, considering this does have a lot of Asian, mythology elements, couldn't they have at least found, like, a village elder from, like, Asian mythology or from Asian history, and at least put him in the place of Mr. Orange? Considering, you know, the obvious fact that this does have a lot of Asian mythology roots, like Amaterasu. Yeah, Amaterasu. Jesus Christ, I can't pronounce it correctly. You know what I mean. Amaterasu. There we go. And the obvious Chinese roots with that one goddess from the start of the game. yeah, she was clearly from Chinese inspiration, considering the design from, the one bug guy's drawing of her. Yeah, she was clearly from Chinese mythology. Uh, so yeah. Also, I think that those symbols on the enemies' masks, I think that those are like Chinese, like traditional Chinese letters. I don't know what it's called. I know Japanese is kanji. I don't know what it is for Chinese though. And I know that there's traditional and modern Chinese. Um, so yeah, it would only be more confusing at that point. So yeah, let's just see what I can do to win this fight. All right, I think I'm doing pretty well. All right, let's just try and take out these weirdos already. Yeah, they're already done. And wow, I made quick work of this stuff. So yeah. All right, let's just try and get out of this fight already. I don't even think I've taken any damage throughout this entire game. That is crazy to think about. I don't even think I've taken a single point of damage. I don't even know what damage looks like. Heck, the closest I've come to taking damage throughout this entire game was just whenever I drowned myself by accident. And even then, it was an instant death. So I don't think that really counts. So yeah, that was the only time I really got close to taking damage throughout this entire game so far. Now that could change later on, clearly so. So yeah, honestly, I don't really care about the dialogue. You can figure out the story like through a recap or something. Honestly, I don't care. Because a lot of this just feels like needless exposition from what I've played through in both my own and throughout this game. A lot of it just feels like exposition. So I just don't see a need for me to read it all out. So yeah. Hold on real quick. I'm gonna pause the recording. Alright, sorry about that. I just had to check to see how long I've been going for. You know what? Honestly, if there was one series that I've ever watched that I would genuinely want to restart with no memories of the plot, it's definitely Assassination Classroom. It's that series. I've rewatched it. Like, I've watched it like 3 separate times. And I'm planning on watching it for a 4th time. Like, genuinely, it is one of the greatest series I've ever watched. Like, genuinely, it's one of the only few products that I've, like, pieces of media in general, that I've watched in the last, or even played in the last few years to genuinely draw tears out of me. Like, genuinely. That is, like, it's easily in my 3rd place spot. I don't think it's better than Dr. Stone or Attack on Titan. I don't think it's better than my top 2 for Dr. Stone and number 1 for Attack on Titan. I genuinely don't think it could be any higher than that. But it is still one of my favorite series of all time. Like, genuinely so. But yeah, if I had to say my number 4 anime, easily My Hero Academia. Yeah, I know that the fan base is horrible. I know it is. I just try and look past all that crap and just try and enjoy the series for myself. Heck, stuff like the My Hero fan base and stuff, that's genuinely why I hate fandoms altogether. Like, genuinely it is. But yeah. Like, I just find most mind you, it's not just the My Hero fan base that really got me to thinking that way. It's also stuff like the Loud House fandom, the My Little Pony fandom, the Gachiakura fandom. even a large portion of the One Piece fandom, which I really only consider the One Piece fandom toxic because they treat One Piece like it's a second coming of Jesus Christ. Like, I've watched a few episodes. It is by far not as good as people claim it is in my eyes. Don't get me wrong, the big three always will have an impact on anime culture as a whole. Same with Dragon Ball 2, but it's not part of the big three, so I didn't count it here. But yeah, honestly, I just think that One Piece, they treat it like it's not that long. It is over 1,100 episodes. And then they try and act like you're not a real anime fan if you don't watch over 1,100 episodes of just One Piece. Yeah, people have jobs. People have families. People can't just sit around watching over I've heard that it goes up to 400 hours. Not everybody has that kind of time just to sit around and watch just one show. Just one. But yeah. Either way, that's going to be the end of today's video. I know that this was a bit of a shorter one, but still. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.